Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel. This is a movie podcast where we're talking sequels and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor, which is typically how we do it. We're doing a little bit backwards this week because the big game is Sunday. You have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. So we thought, you know what? We have the perfect sequel to talk about, Angels in the Endzone. So we're going to be covering that this week. Next week, it's actress Kate Twa, which she was in this movie a lot. She had some pretty cool scenes. Really neat. We talked about her career growing up in Vancouver, dropping out of school at 17 to go to England to learn acting. She talked about her coming back and some of the cool roles that she had over the years. And now she's like 2 hours north in wine, apple country, and she's putting on shows and really bringing the arts there and had some really cool stories about giving back to the community and her career. Kate even challenged me. She said, "Do you want a challenge?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I want you to film something this year, a sequel to a movie." They said it's something I've always wanted to do, so I guess I have to eventually do that. So yeah, that'll be great next week. Kate was awesome, but man, we got to talk about Coach Dooley and Angels in the End Zone. But before I talk about how this movie doesn't know rules of football or how to lead young men, I got to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Doug. How are you doing?
I can't believe this is you know what's weird about it? It's the weirdness of that late 90s family movies. Like there are really serious, there's some real serious stuff in this movie. Really silly stuff. And then things that are like not, like almost like they wrote the script and it was maybe a good script. And they took parts of the movie out. Like we'll talk about like the redhead, who I guess he seems like an outcast. He's a bookie. Seems like he's not helping Harper at all advance in the school. We'll talk about that. But what are some first thoughts that you have before we fully dive in?
So, going into this movie, I'm like, all right, you know what? I have to change my viewing, I guess, just the way I view movies because this is a kid's movie. It's a Disney movie. So I can't go in there as I normally do. So I really went in there open-minded. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to put myself as a child and watch this movie. It's almost not a children's movie. First of all, it's depressing. It's a depressing movie. There's not a lot of football. There's like two scenes of football and there's a lot of weird, like what kind of school is this when all the kids, and I don't know how to put it, like all the kids on a football team, I don't know what's the proper way to describe the kids in this movie.
They're the bottom of the barrel of high school kids.
They really are. Like it's like the whole school that, and then you have this one, Joey Lawrence's brother. Is that his brother? That's a brother,
yeah,
right?
That's Matthew Lawrence.
So like, it's like these are the only kids that came out for the football team. Like,
oh, dude, how about the quarterback? The quarterback has no backings to the glasses.
What?
He tapes them to the back of his head.
How about the fact that the quarterback can't see? So one kid on the team that can't see, you have everybody that looks like a doofus. Like everyone looks like they're like they haven't passed first grade. They all have their mouth open, their tongue hanging out, like they
eating eye black. The one kid was eating eye black.
Again, it's ridiculous. And then you have the assistant coach who's nonstop eating the entire movie.
I know.
Okay. So,
it's just could you imagine? It's like, guys, I know you got the role. We're going to change it a little bit. You're going to be eating the whole time. You're constantly eating, take after take after take.
Ridiculous. And the lesson in this movie about football is awful because it's basically telling you that you don't have to play all season. You don't have to be part of the team that started from, losing and working their way hard and everybody worked in the team. You can just come in at the end and, it's okay. Like this kid should not have played in that last game.
100%. And you know what's even crazier? That we'll get that more depth. But what about there's no number 2 on the depth chart? So if he wasn't there,
correct,
or if he didn't show up during the pregame speech, like that would be like the final straw. But we'll dive into that more later. But like, oh my god! So let's get into this movie. So the last movie was California Angels, which are still California Angels at the time. And you had like a star-studded cast. You had Tony Danza. The manager was Danny Glover. You had a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Ton of people in the movie. And it's like, wow. And then you go the beginning of this movie, They're in like a minor league, like single A minor league stadium. Like that is the beginning of this movie. And we meet the angels, Kate Twa, one of them, the one female angel.
Female.
And they're like, come on, the season's over, which that's not how it works. Like football, they overlap. But it was like, hey, we have to go get out of here. This season's over. And then you see the football fly in the sky and land in the town.
How about Christopher Lloyd saying just one last hit, and he knocks the ball into the universe. Like, so like if they were going to play a game, how quick would it be over? And like, so the Angels were they all wearing head helmets or just Kate? Because Kate was wearing a helmet the whole time.
A couple of them wear like the old leather helmets. Yeah, she was wearing it the whole time. Yeah.
So they only play at one stadium also? Because and they only go to teams that named Angels. So if your team is named Angels, they'll go to you, and because the football team's named the Angels, right?
They are, yeah. They're the Westfield Angels. Westfield is like a sort of rival of my high school. Let's
be honest though. A football team named Angels is really not tough sounding. Like at least football, baseball, you don't have to sound too tough, but football, you want like a tough name. And the Angels, like that seems kind of, yeah.
I'm trying to think, what is the wussiest like mascot name? Because there's college teams that have really weird names. I guess like how about Tulane? All the Tulane listeners turned off. The Green Wave. And it's just like a wave. It's like a radioactive wave to show maybe the Gulf of Mexico, like the radioactiveness from it.
What was your high school mascot?
Tigers, all the generic stuff.
Okay, that's not bad. Mine was the Dutchman.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad.
College, we were the Seahawks. So
that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a really lame one that I could think of. Like, I guess the Golden Gophers. Gophers are kind of tiny, right? That's not a good one.
That is, a gopher is kind of lame. That is lame.
Raging Cajuns is just like a giant pepper. A pepper with arms.
But the name sounds like, it just sounds like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so
he's
that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's going to mess with you. But no, we have the Angels. I was starting to think in this movie it would have been great. Again, it would kind of go to, I don't know, again, with the budget of this, I probably couldn't find somebody equally leveled as like Lloyd to be the cross. But even if there was a devil on the other side causing havoc, and then that's how they met. The angel was helping them cheat, and the devil was helping them cheat.
There was a devil at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he was just a mascot for the team.
Yeah. So their team was named the Devils?
No, they were it was a wild name.
So
it wasn't the Devils. It was like the serpents.
Mascot a devil. Okay, so why is the mascot a devil then?
Serpents and devils, they're not in the same tree.
I get a tree.
Well, I was trying to think family tree of like creatures. Come in. It's like the Yeti and the Bigfoot.
I mean, the only other thing is Adam and Eve. The serpent was the devil.
See? Look at that.
But I don't think they're doing that in this Disney movie.
Well, maybe they are. It's angels, devil. Maybe there's other things we didn't think about while you're watching it.
But you know what, though? It would have been better if the name of the team was called the Devils. Why don't they just go like that? I mean, that would have made more sense. So
been right on the nose, but they wanted to cleverly slip that one in. They'll get it. Trust me. The audience is smart.
Okay.
The ABC family. So one thing I wanted to do before we started, because this movie you can't find anywhere, which is shocking because it is a Disney movie, but it's kind of weird. It's almost like Muppet Babies, the original one from the 80s. Even though it was like Jim Henson, there's like this weird like licensing with it. So even though Disney owns Henson now, you can't see any of those. But same thing with this, maybe there's something weird because it's a Disney movie and it's ridiculous that we had to watch it on YouTube. And there's two versions. The first one I watched, the sound cut out halfway through. No commercials.
Yep.
Yeah. And my notes were like, dude, the sound is terrible. How are they doing this scene with people mouthing and there's music really loud?
No, you know what it was? So we must have watched the same one. During the football game, the sound went back to the beginning of the movie.
That's what I mean. So it went to the end. So I'm hearing just music. And I see the announcer talking. I'm like, really?
I was so confused. I literally rewound it like 3 times, like, what's going on? So so then I found the same one you found with all these old commercials. And
so I found 2 to play, but I think this one's fitting because it almost reminds me, if anybody's watched the Dana Carvey documentary, like there's a show that I don't know if I just stopped watching it that got really serious. And I never knew it was because I would think it's a family show when you think back of it. Well, I guess I'll be backwards order. This one's amazing.
They don't make commercials like this at all.
It's insane, right? It's like no crust, and the kid's yelling.
Your topic.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'll save the other one for later. I'll cut it in. Me and Jamie were talking about before we started recording, like the commercials then people now talk about like they're in your face. That era, man. It was like extreme, like Mountain Dew Code Red, like all these crazy Jolt. But like with this, it was like, oh my God, the kid's like screaming in class. My toppings go to the edge.
Yeah, but you know what though? But it was if you threw that commercial during the Super Bowl, like that would be one of the commercials you see. Like it's different, it's funny, it's like they don't make commercials only during Super Bowl. Do they make good commercials like that? It's funny.
I know.
I mean, if you look back on it, so yeah, but it was
It's
wild,
insane.
definitely wild.
So at the beginning of the movie, like Paul Dooley, when I saw his name, which I knew he was in the movie anyway from watching the trailer before, and I'm like, you know what? The only thing I love about this movie is the fact that a guy like Paul Dooley, not saying he probably wasn't top billed and other stuff, but it was really cool for him, a funny, great character actor, to get a starring role.
But doesn't he play that role in every movie, whether it's a gym teacher or a coach or like that's him? Like,
Always. He's the same guy.
So yeah, same guy. But yeah, he does it well. I mean, he did have a questionable line in the beginning of the movie that we'll discuss when it happens. It was just a weird timing thing, the way he said
I
it.
haven't been kissed like that in years.
Yes, by a boy, like the kid kissed him, like that was just okay. So you knew exactly. It was just weird. Like
Very
I mean,
weird.
I know they didn't mean it that way, but like the way, like I don't think that line really should have followed what happened after. So
yeah. So we meet like the chaotic Harper family. And we see Matthew Lawrence, the kid from Seventh Heaven. They're playing electric football. And at the same time, it's 10 o'clock. At the same time, the mom is hanging wallpaper with no like adhesive. She's rolling it, and it's just falling back down.
Why is she doing that alone while the father's having fun with the kids playing board games? The mom is like struggling with this wallpaper. She's clearly struggling. She needs help. I mean, look like it's a lot of work. And the father's like not even thinking about helping her at all. He's playing electric football, which, by the way, I used to have as a kid. It was like
me too.
It's the dumbest game because it's like but everybody had it. It was awesome.
It was fun, yeah. But the dad's been in a bunch. The one that most people remember him from, he plays the state senator in The Office, who kisses Oscar. He's on like 5 or 6 episodes of The Office, but great credits. And he was good in this role, but oh my God, dude. Like heartbreaking. This
whole movie. I mean, like I don't remember. Was Angels in the Outfield? Was it a comedy? Like a kid comedy? Like throughout?
So there was no death. There was a remembrance of because they were in a foster home.
Okay.
Led by the bird lady, the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. So they I think remember their parents that Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his buddy. But it's never about somebody dying. Like Tony Danza, I think they have a weird messed up thing in that because he smokes and he's like coughing in one of the scenes, and Christopher Lloyd talks about like he's sick, and it's like really whoa, okay. And then he like pitches like a great game, but no, not as like crazy as this goes because we get like the tryouts again. They're in pads like one day. It seems like it's one day.
Before the tryouts, though, like the father's popping the kid up, like hopping him up, and like the kid's like nervous, and the father like it's a great the father's excited, like his son's gonna go there, and this first of all, I don't know why the kid was nervous because he had to know the kids in his high school.
I know, right?
Okay, this is a team that's lost 52 games straight. So first of all, I'm not sure how Dooley still has a job. This team has lost 52 games straight. So, but this kid clearly doesn't fit in at all. I mean, compared to all the other, again, literally these kids look like they've never opened up a school book at all. Like they all made them all so dumb. Like it just it was weird. Like it was very weird. Why were they doing it was, I mean, listen, you could have done the Bad News Bears and still made them like regular kids and just stink at football. But they really kids getting caught in the net, kids that don't know how to put on a jock, kids that it was just
can't put their pants on. His pants are on backwards and they kick the field goal.
He's also, I mean, he played soccer. That sport is probably more, a jock is probably more needed in that sport than it is in football.
Yeah.
he
That
didn't
is
wear a
true.
jock in soccer, like so. And then he wears it on the outside. No one tells him, like when he walks out, like So, but yeah, so like the fact that he was nervous was a little silly because again, he had to know how bad this team is and how bad these kids are. So
This
I'm
is another
surprised.
one of those, like, I think writing mistakes that it must have been the fact because he was new at the school. But the only reason you'd know that is if I think Dooley one time mentions like your old man was Harper, right? Because he's definitely not a freshman. He's on the varsity team and trying out for the varsity team. But the mom hanging the wallpaper is like our indicator. But it's so weird. There was no like opening, like, oh yeah, we're new. Hey, I'm new here.
Right,
Like,
right.
and another thing that, what else is this movie missing? Think about any high school movie. What is there when there's like a boy is the lead? There's usually a what?
Girl.
Okay.
There's a,
No girl
I know.
in this entire movie.
I know.
Not even a girl in the background that's of like his age. Like crazy.
The mom's, I think, the only girl in the movie.
Yes. And the ginger kid, because I want to mention this now. So there's like this ginger kid that befriends him, who's like obviously a dirtbag.
Before we go further, like we said many times, he's not that he's a bully, but he's obviously the bad kid. Like they're always redheaded. Back in the 80s and 90s, they always had the redheaded. Like if you're red hair, you're gonna be the bad guy. And he was. Go ahead.
The bookie, the redhead bookie, who had like the stoner buddy with like the really long brown hair, but like not the fact that there wasn't a girl. So like later in the movie, there's a line that he utters, and he's like, "You're nothing without me, Harper." And in my head, I'm like, dude, it's not. It would have made more sense if that redhead kid was like a preppy kid that had a lot of money, took him into parties, hooking up with girls, something like that. But what did he get him? A ride around the block in his car? And like almost like robbery?
He's a bookie for a team that hasn't won a game in 52 games. What kind of
So
book,
he's
like,
won 52 times in a row, right? Like if he's been betting, obviously Pat hasn't probably taking bets that long, but he's taking the team playing Westfield. And he just keeps losing over and over again.
Who's betting on that game? I mean, like who? Like because I mean, like why? Like if you have a team that, first of all, not only they haven't won in 52 games, they get crushed they're awful. So who's betting? Like how are you making money if everybody's gonna bet? So yeah, he's not a good bookie. So that made no sense.
It would have been great at the end of the movie if they made that like a running gag. Like each game, more people are gambling. And you see like a line, and there's like the principal, the dad, or like just random people betting with him. But yeah, it made no sense. Like he didn't get to the point like, hey man, these guys are pretty good. And there's no lines. It was like, who do you want to win? People don't bet like that.
Yeah.
This team should be getting like 30, 40 points a game. They stink.
Easily. Stink is not a word. I mean, like for them. I mean, I don't think the way we saw them practice, my guess is out of the 52 games, I don't think they ever scored.
Probably not.
First of all, look at the size of the other teams. Like they're all like monsters. And again, this team has zero talent. You have a quarterback, I guess the only kid that can throw the ball, who can't see.
I know.
If he still can't see after 52, like I mean, he obviously he's not there for for all 52 games, but he's there for probably most of them. So he hasn't seen since then. What's going to change now? And he's still quarterback. Like, at what point do you say to the coach, you know what? Maybe we need to change positions for some of these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have a kicker until
this
this
vision.
I mean, but they didn't have a kicker until this kid came on. Like,
I know.
Because,
the soccer tryouts are over there. And he's like, oh, and then he kicks the ball over the school.
But that's also a trope in so many like these dysfunctional football movies. It's the soccer. They realize the soccer kid can kick or the girl
or Kathy Ireland.
Yeah, right. So it's ridiculous.
And so he calls his dad. He does great at the tryouts, and it's like, hey, you Harper's kid, great job. And then when he calls his dad, and his dad gets excited, and he's like, woo, oh, my boy made the team. And then I'm like, he's gonna die. That's the first thing I said. The way how excited he was, and he's like, oh, what do you guys want to eat? I'll pick up, the 7th Heaven kid's like, pizza. And he's like, okay, I'll pick up pizza on the way home. And I'm like, this guy's dying, man.
But that's it. He goes, we're going to celebrate tonight. And it's pizza. That's your celebration? Like, they probably get pizza every Friday. So, like, how about do something different? Like, that's your celebration? Like, I thought they were going to say, hey, we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese tonight or something. Like, we're going to go out and celebrate. No, let's get pizza. Okay. Let's do a normal Friday.
That's a good parenting trick. Even though you do the same thing every week, you make it really exciting. It's like, all right, guys, let's do a movie in the living room. And it's like, we did that yesterday.
Well, you know what? They probably got what was the pizza called from Pizza Hut? The no edge pizza?
The edge.
See?
The edge.
The edge.
It takes the toppings, go to the edge. So amazing. But yeah, so then I'm like, oh my God, he's going to die. Then the one thing I thought about too is like, now, because we're so used to it, like most of my life, I had a cell phone at this point. Yeah, most of my life. So it was always like somebody was right there. I could always reach out. I couldn't imagine like my wife driving at night, like an hour, and it's like,
no, of course.
I can't call her right now. Hey, it's been a little long. And it's like, I just called the restaurant. They said he left an hour ago. And I'm like,
yeah, now you knew. But you know what? We kind of went, we went kind of past with the tryout. So, we talked about it, the 1 day tryout. Not only was it a 1 day tryout, it was a 1 catch tryout.
Oh, yeah. He made the team.
He literally, he caught the ball. He goes, all right, you're on the team. So basically, no one on the team could catch a ball. So if you could catch a ball, you're automatically on there. And again, and if you can kick the ball like the European kid, then you're on the team also. So tryouts are pretty easy. You just have to know how to play football. And that's it.
He's like, all right, you're in. You have 2 eyes? All right, you're in.
So who was the kicker before that basically just lost his job? And who was the receiver?
Because they were never in field goal range. They probably had to kick off once a game.
Okay, then who was the tailback that literally lost his job after the kid who's a running back caught 1 ball? So the starting tailback lost his job from that. How bad must he be that he lost a big? Because why didn't he say that he's a receiver? Like, why did he make him a tailback if he was out there? Why is the first play that for the tryout was a catch? Wouldn't it have been a run? Shouldn't it have been a run?
Well, he ran 47 times at the end of the movie. There's a bad clock management.
Okay,
terrible.
And again, we'll get there, but like, yeah, let me do it. I can do it. Why are you like again? You earn nothing from this team. Like this team worked their
You've been
tail
here for
off.
47 minutes.
And you were on the team and you left us dry. Like you left us to fend for ourselves, and then you're gonna be the hero. Like it's so like the message is so bad. It really is. So okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the dad. I mean, this. I mean, again, it's obviously dragged throughout the whole movie. This whole situation, like it's depressing. Like it was like this.
Very
kid
depressing.
Was very depressing, and like clearly he was struggling the whole movie. This kid. Like no one's like the mom didn't see signs like to try to help him out. Like literally, like it was just, yeah. I mean, it was just like a weird. To me, it was like a weird angle that I get it. First of all, the dad should have been an angel. I mean, that would have like. I mean, like you don't even see like the dad has nothing to do with the angels, And then the fact that the dad, like, I don't know. I feel like they took away any of the comedy because you're still dragging the sadness throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I know. And it wasn't
like,
extreme. It was kind of like in like Friday the 13th Part 5 in that one. How hard that must have been for that actor, like playing like angry and barely talking and all of that. Like him, it would have been great if he was like to the point like he was already doing like bad shit, like hanging out with a rough crowd, like doing something extreme or acting out. He was doing nothing.
And again, like the kid was saying, he's like, I never got a chance to say goodbye. Like that's awful. Like that's awful. And so you're like, yeah. So like that, like this movie is like almost a drama in that aspect because half the movie is this kid walking alone, sitting alone. Nothing to do with football. And then
God, the
again,
ending
you have
bummed me out so much. Like obviously being a dad and losing not having my dad, I was like, am I crying right now? It was like very emotional when he hugged him, and then he was ended up hugging the field goal.
Yeah. It was so weird. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, man. So,
okay.
So, how about the voice of the kicker? Did somebody tell him to watch Taxi? He sounded like Latka.
He did. Well, he acted like Latka. Like he was so clueless. Yeah. Well, listen, how about the announcer, Bob Uecker? Like,
God,
the announcer,
best part of the movie, the ads that he would like add in were amazing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when his hair flipped up. First of all, he could have been Harry from Dumb and Dumber's brother. Like,
yeah,
he had the same look and hair as Harry. He was such a goofball, but he definitely playing like the Bob Uecker kind of like role. But like he also looked like your buddy behind you a little bit.
It looks like Mr. Hankin. Yeah, he sort of looks like Mr. Hankin.
He does a little
but
bit.
I just love when he would go in the ads. He'd be like, "That's a first down for Westfield," and be like, "And if you want to go down, let's go downtown." And he'd go into this ad. Like I wrote one down for later, but just so good, man.
Does a team that doesn't win in 52 games really have an announcer?
An announcer with a sport coat. Like that guy probably does it for free at this point. He's really old.
He probably the janitor.
Maybe a real team.
He looks like he could be the janitor that they just gave him like a little, hey, just do this for us. Because
I would have loved that bit. He's doing the floors and he walks out, throws a sport coat on, and he's really still in the blue, like underneath.
Or he has a sport coat underneath the janitor outfit. So he takes like Superman. He takes the outfit. Yeah.
He's entering the game and he's like rips it off and he's ready to go.
Yep.
Man. So, the other team's name was the Screaming Demons.
Okay. All right. A little better than
closer. Okay. Yeah, right. I wrote the Screaming Demons look like men, and the angels can't break the sign.
When
they ran into the sign,
when they stand next to them and next to Lawrence, he would look like a small little like. I mean, there's no way he would be able to do what he was doing. Although, he did have a little help, or they had a little help. So okay,
yeah,
all right.
But this is the first game, so it's like kind of depressing, and he disappears. He never even comes out.
He doesn't
from
even
the
come
locker room. He stays in there, and then he's no uniform walking away. And you're
like, you know what? Like, so the team is expecting that the starting tailback is like not expecting to play. The coach makes all these plays, and now you're going to have your first game. Everybody's gonna be lost. I mean, listen, the team is lost to begin with, but imagine that, like, you just lost your job as a tailback, which the kid probably didn't even care, and now the coach is like, all right, you got to get in there. Like like he probably hasn't practiced all week, because this other kid was doing it, and I mean, like this alone, I mean, that he should not have been allowed back with open arms.
Not at all, and then not showing up, like given the opportunity, Dooley gives him that spot. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So they lose the game. They're going against the team, obviously, just like any other movie, that they're going to face later on in order to, like, go for the championship. But he's having this late night heart-to-heart with seventh Ave kid, Kevin, I believe. And he goes, "What? Are you okay?" And he says, "Yeah, I'll be okay when our joke of a team wins a championship."
Okay. Hold on. Is this where he's at the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you write down? I wrote down what was in that refrigerator.
No, I didn't. What was in the fridge?
All right. So, let's see. Fridge has 2 huge bags of bread. Now, they weren't loaves of bread. So it looked like there were like 4 stacks in the bag on one shelf. So like you had 2 bags of that. So imagine, they had like 8 stacks of bread, like on the bottom shelf. Right?
Money's tight on one income. Bread and cheese and butter.
So, hold on. So then another shelf, you had a plastic water ice pack. Those big plastic like that like the ice packs. So they had was in there.
Like the ones to freeze were in the fridge.
That was in there on the side, and then on the other side of that ice pack was they look like Cheetos, but it might have been carrots. It was a huge bag of either carrots or Cheetos, but like literally a huge bag. That was the second one, and then on the top shelf it was 2 canisters. One was like purple, one was blue, and then next to it was, again, I don't know what was in the bag. It looked like marshmallows, but it was in the bag. So in this refrigerator, you have either carrots and Cheetos, a bag of marshmallows, an ice pack, and what was the bottom thing? Oh, and a lot of bread.
Bread.
It was the worst looking refrigerator. Like, it's like they didn't even try. They were just like there was not like throw like a thing of peanut butter in there or something, like throw like containers that look like they're food. It was the worst. Like, no one's refrigerator would ever look like this. It was so bad. I was hoping you would notice, so you could.
No, I gotta go back and screenshot.
It was awful.
That's good.
It was awful.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and his younger brother was, I think, the best character in the movie. This kid,
he was good. Yeah, he's a good actor.
But he's young. No, but he's young. He's younger than the older brother, and he speaks more sense.
That's usually how it works, right? You're usually younger than your older brother, right?
All right, tough guy. So anyway, what I meant to say is younger than the main character.
Yeah.
but he spoke a lot of sense. Like he was trying to reason with the brother, and like I mean, like, listen, he also lost his dad, but like he's moving on, and he's trying, he's trying. And the other one, Joey Lawrence's brother, was just like, eh, yeah, he's worried about the stupid team that he should have been part of.
I know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, when that joke of a team wins a championship. Okay, be on that team and give them a, at least try. It's not like me rooting for a sports team that I can't affect he has a chance to be a part of the reason they win or lose. Let him, yeah. Let them do
Okay,
it.
and okay, I can, if this team is that bad, and you're like, I mean, even if I go on the team, I mean, the odds of him throwing the ball that I'm going to be able to catch is, like, fine, but then don't come back later on. Like, if you're not gonna, if you don't want to be part of that losing team because your ego is too big, then don't join later on. So yeah, again, I think he's the bad guy in this movie.
He's the bad guy. Yeah, he's so angry. At least in the next game, he doesn't show. So now we get to the next game, and this is right after Kevin like prayed for an angel or prayed to God, and then we get, at least he's home for the next one before we get like the Hail Mary again. The kid that can't see throws a ball. And this is one thing I always thought of. I know, obviously, for the comical thing of it, but in a sense, if this was like a real thing that angels were affecting games, would they make it like a little bit not crazy looking? They
Not
threw
obvious.
a kid like 15 feet in the air.
And, the audience or the crowd, they seemed like it was weird what they saw, but they didn't think twice about it. Like, they all looked shocked. Like, what did we just see? But they're okay with it. Like, if you see a kid jump 50 feet in the air to catch a ball, you're going to have questions.
Yeah.
Like,
or when a ball's floating in the air later in the movie, everybody's fine with it.
Or does the Bugs Bunny, spinning around and like in circles before he gets where it needs to go? I mean, yeah. I mean, but no one bats an eye, except for the kid. Like he knows. So yeah. And was this? He didn't meet Christopher Lloyd yet, right? The brother. It's after this.
No, he meets him right after this because remember he talks about like I don't know, they're cloud people. I saw a cloud person.
Right. Okay.
And this wasn't even, this is their first touchdown in probably forever because this made the game tied. Yeah, it must have been tied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They kick a field goal. No, wait. No. I'm sorry. This made it what 9-7. Yeah, it made it 9-7 because the other team was kneeling it.
But you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and the junior guy's pissed because he's like, "Oh my god, they scored! I'm gonna be." He's like getting worried at this point.
Right. Okay. You're right. But here's another question I have. So the assistant coach, like I said, he's eating throughout the whole movie.
Eating the whole time, yeah.
Okay. He's eating a bag of Cheerios, it looked like, or something. But when he's talking to the coach, he had one in his nose.
Oh my god!
You didn't notice that?
No, I didn't.
He literally had a Cheerio, like as it got stuck in his nose and he didn't realize it, and it's sticking out like in a circle in his nose, and he's talking as he had a massive bag of Cheerios.
Do you think that was like like that happened by mistake, or is that a choice in the mirror before the scene? He shoved a Cheerio up there. Oh, this is exactly what this character would look like.
You know what? That would be funny if he decided to do it and they left it in there because they didn't realize it, and like he just put it in there for the movie, because it made no sense why it would get stuck in your nose unless he's sticking his face inside the bag and like eating it like a horse would eat a thing of hay. It just made no sense. But like again, he was such a goofball throughout the whole movie. It just added to the mix of kids. I mean, first of all, the assistant coach is a kid. Like it just like. That whole team, I still want to see, like, is the whole school like that? Or is it just these kids? Like, it was very
we don't
odd
see anybody. We didn't get one school scene, right?
Well, you know what? And again, the crowd was very thin.
Very thin.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, you know what? That's
it was
crazy.
Weird.
We didn't get one school scene. Like, the fact that there was no love interest and no school scene is weird. It's, like, really bizarre. That must have been written in the script. There's no way that they wrote a movie that didn't have, like, somebody didn't submit a script that was like, all right, here's this movie. It's going to take place at the football.
Well, maybe the girls are just like the guys, and, their reading level and everything else, and maybe,
maybe
they're eating
glue in the art class.
Glue, right. So, which means that, this kid is obviously the most normal kid in this whole, that a girl like love interest would not work. That's the only thing I think of. So.
Man. So before we get to before we get to meeting Al, I have to play this next clip because then I have another one queued up. But this is an ad they showed multiple times throughout this ABC thing. So I pulled the one from the very end, and it's amazing that this show I misremembered as a kid, thinking it was just wow.
Wait a second.
Right?
Wait a second.
What a year!
I never knew that happened in the show.
I don't remember. Well, do you remember if you ever watched the Dana Carvey documentary? If you have not, after this, when you need to watch something, Too Funny to Fail on Hulu, I'll probably watch tonight now that I'm talking about it. And it talks about like the Dana Carvey show and all of that. And Robert Schmeigel says, we thought we had a family show. And one of the episodes leading into Dana Carvey show was about Brad like being on heroin.
Wow.
And I'm like, I think of that show being so silly.
Sure.
Like, what's her name that we almost interviewed as the full-time girl?
Yeah, but
the neighbor, Wilson, Al, right? When did they fit in that?
Well, because don't forget, like during the 80s, early 90s, the sitcoms always had a couple of like special episodes, like Family Ties.
Like Different Strokes had the one with
they did.
That is true.
They did, and Family Ties had the one where
Tom Hanks is the drug
Tom Hanks. Right. Listen, Archie Bunker, Edith almost gets raped in one episode.
Yeah.
So
and there's one episode they wear blackface.
Correct. So there definitely was racist moments in that show. So but if you think of the 80s, like every sitcom had that special, even the Roseanne, they all had that. So, but this is a family Disney movie. Why would you have a depressing lead up into the show? Like again, like this is a depressing movie to begin with. So it's like you would think commercials would have been more adult, more kid friendly than something like that. There's other shows they could have done, like, or episodes. Like you have to show that episode, like coming up with that.
Yeah. I just thought it was so ridiculous. And another ad, not to talk too much about the commercials, but there was like a DirecTV. I don't even know when DirecTV started. There was a satellite company, and in the commercial was like all the Looney Tunes characters, a football player, but I couldn't recognize who he was, and Daisy Fuentes from MTV, like peak Daisy Fuentes, 97. Sure. And it was like them in a boardroom, and I'm like, what? It's fun to, I follow a page on social media, I forget which one, but it's like one that has like a bunch of random old, yeah, dude, it's so nostalgic, but yeah, so I had to show that one because just seeing that over and over again, I was like, oh my God.
Honestly, if I had a choice again, I'd rather watch the commercials than this movie.
Man, there were some good ones. There were some other ones. There was a McDonald's ad that was really good. A Burger King one that was like trashing Big Macs. I'm like, wow, this is great. So now he meets Al. So his mom's like, oh, you just mentioned puffy cloud people that you saw. How about you go to concessions alone? Like, let me send you. He's not that old. I'm gonna send you by yourself to this thing. And he meets Christopher Lloyd. He reveals his name is Al, which he picked up in the first one. He was wearing the AL umpire hat. But like, well, I gotta ask you, what did he do to the hot dog man? What happened to the hot dog man that we saw him shake, then disappear?
So right, I like what? So during this time, so is it just because it shouldn't have made sense because only the kid could see the angel. So to have him do that, what if someone was standing there watching, which there were people online? Did they see the shake also, or like while he was talking? Yeah, like, or was a shake just for the kid to see? Like, it just made no sense. Like, like it was just very weird. And if he really, in fact, like possessed the hot dog man, what is the hot dog man thinking? Like, did he like just nod out for 5 minutes while this is going on, or like?
It seemed like he was still there because remember what he said? He's like, "Yeah, kid, right? You're a little weird." I think he calls him a little weird.
He did. So then what's the point of doing the shake then if the hot dog man was there the whole time? And like he's just watching this kid talk to nobody. Like, so the kid was staring at the hot dog man, thinking it's Christopher Lloyd, talking to the hot dog man, thinking it's Christopher Lloyd. Hot dog man's not answering him clearly, but the kid's having a full conversation. This kid should be locked up.
Yeah.
Like he needs to be brought to a doctor. Because even later on when he starts flailing his arms around, like,
I thought you were gonna say when he sees the shrink that's in a school, and then the shrink proceeds to hit on the widowed mom.
Okay, again, we'll get there, and again, so bizarre. Like, again, this is a kids movie. Like, it's a kid's movie. When he did that, I couldn't believe it. Like, yeah. But I mean, like, so before is that before he's on the bench with Christopher Lloyd, or because I lost track of time and like
on the bench. Well, right now is like after this game is when he like talks to Dooley. I think right after this game, he talks to Dooley. But like now that obviously, whenever you're listening to this, you know maybe you know football rules and maybe you don't. We're here to help you out. But for the Super Bowl, like, dude, the refs in this movie and the logic of football, like you would think that's an easy thing. It's not like it's a doctor. Even that's easy. You call up a doctor, be like, hey, what would you do in this procedure? Just so I'm writing this thing that makes sense. So at the end of this game, this is the final clip that I have. So they're getting ready to lose, okay? Because they went for it, they didn't get it. The other team just has to kneel down, right? All they got to do, Dooley said.
Look at all the food that
he just keeps going. Look, he fumbles on the kneel down. He drops the ball and sits on his butt. All right. Now the rules of football that most people might know is right now the clock stopped. Turnover. So after this, something has to happen. Another kneel down. Run a play to get to the hash mark that you want, or the center of the field. And somehow we cut to the other team, and the clock is right now sort of running. They don't mention it yet, but he's getting him to run in, which is nuts. And the clock's running right now. You see the blue whistle? Not part of the rules.
I can do this.
100%. I was wondering the same thing.
He's not going to make it.
He does kind of look like Dan. So I didn't go. And then after this, Kate Twa, amazing Kate Twa, going to listen to that interview next week. She helps the kid launch this field goal, which again, does he need a lot of help? We saw him in the practice nail one. He should have been like terrible like everyone else. He's the only athlete on the team besides terrible, Matthew Lauren.
I was thinking the same thing because he launched the ball in the beginning of the movie.
Over the school.
Yeah. So there's no reason why he couldn't have done it himself. And so, like, does she kick it, or does she like go into his body, possess his body, and have him kick it? Like, who's kicking the ball? Because she ran with him. Like, you see him.
She's making sure his leg goes to the right angle, maybe like all in the hips.
I guess. I mean,
but it's cool. She had a lot of scenes in this movie.
No,
like,
she did.
Really neat. Which is really like I don't remember the other one. How many different angels were used? I don't know. I don't remember if in that one there was like
Well, I'm assuming they had at least three. They had at least three. I'm assuming. Were they all in the outfield?
Yeah.
So
angels, yeah. But I'm trying to think of like if there was like the zoom-ins of these people. So cause that was a pretty cool part for her, like that being her first like big role. And then just before this, she was on X-Files. But very cool.
Absolutely.
He makes the field goal. They win the game, and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
But see, okay, so what's the theme of this movie? Because to me, it's about cheating. Like, you're cheating to win. Like,
cheating to win.
They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so like it's not like they're like the angels of pep talking these kids that you can do it. Like, it's like we're gonna help you win, even though we're not. You're getting outside help. The kids aren't doing it themselves. It's the angels doing everything. So, like, what's the message here? Like, it's okay to cheat if it's
you know what?
You're
right. You know what's funny? Isn't that every movie? Like Teen Wolf. Everything is like, all right, cheat championship when it's one game on the line. Now it's on you, and then it's like, you know what? 1 in a million.
Yeah, but I would say with Teen Wolf, it's still him, because listen, if you just happen to be able to turn into a wolf, hey, listen, that's great. I mean, it's still you. Here is like, it's like if the Teen Wolf was able to get other Teen Wolves to join the team that weren't on the team, then it's cheating, right? So here again, you're using magic, like, clearly it's like angel magic that's helping you win. So you're telling young kids we're using magic to cheat when these other teams are better. Like, it's really if you think about it, the message is awful. Like,
it's terrible.
Like, it should have been like they're going to help them practice better. They're going to help them, like, get the kid glasses that can throw the ball or whatever. Like, they're going to help in a way, not during the game, because really
cure his eyesight. That'd be good.
Right. Things like that. Okay, fine. But it just, I don't know. It's like, I feel like, again, you have a father dying without saying goodbye to his son. You have a school doctor that's trying to hit on the kid's grieving mom. You have cheating in the game. You're letting a kid who doesn't like. There's so many bad, negative messages throughout the whole movie.
That's so true, man. It's unbelievable. Like all those movies that we watch and love, and it's like, yeah, the last game, you gotta do it on your own. Now you gotta do it on your own. No other games, cheat. The other teams, you broke their dreams. There was other coach duels on the other team.
They worked hard
last
all
year.
season.
They're not gonna go out on top.
100%. These kids are probably getting scholarships, and they lose in the last game. And then, not for nothing, you're telling these kids, we can't help you in the last game. What's changed in there outside of them like winning that they think they're doing themselves? Their skills are still the same. Like the blind kid is still blind. The other kid's going to still run into the net. The other kids can't catch. So their skills never changed. So the fact that, and it's again, every movie, there's no way the last game or somehow they're able to put it all together on their own. They didn't even practice the right way. So how are they going to put it together? It's still going to be the same. See, it would be funny. Like they said, all right, you're on your own this time. And they get blown out by 40 points.
That's it. Dude,
See, that's
so funny.
how
I was thinking about that. And I actually texted a buddy of mine. And that same thing, like, wouldn't it be great? All those movies like Air Bud, all those things like They Lose. Or like, that'd be good.
Reality sets in. You can't win if you cheat. That's it.
And another message they also put is the bad guys are going to talk about kids that don't have their dads anymore. Because the line that the redhead kid says, he pulls up to Harper in his car and says, he quit the team when his old man died. So honestly, reason, but he just should never have been able to be brought back under those circumstances.
Not for the last game. I mean, if he came in mid-season, he had to work things out. But you're going to bring him in the
last week. But no practice.
No, but even the last week. Listen,
I know, but that would be more believable. Like for us as the audience, okay, you know what? He had a lot going on. Let him practice all week. Hey, you're not going to play. You're going to have to earn it. And he's like playing hard on scout team, something like that. No, he shows up during the speech.
And how does he know the place? He wasn't there all season.
Oh, he would not.
He would not know
anything from one day of practice.
Although, I mean, let's be honest. I'm not sure Dooley ever gave plays to these kids. He probably said, just go out there. He said, just go out there and run.
Yeah. One thing I wrote down because of how, like we've mentioned like a lot of times, but the bottom of the barrel, like what these high school kids are, I wrote down on the one touchdown, I said, there's no way that kid would have that much time in the pocket. Because it's funny, we saw them like get crushed on a bunch of plays, and then like on the last play, we didn't see angels in there, pass blocking. We just saw them throw the kid in the air to catch the ball. But no, he has a ton of time to be able to complete that pass.
Well, and you think about it, the Angels didn't it would be different if they block someone so he can catch it. Like they didn't let these kids use any of their own skills whatsoever.
No.
It was like at least again, maybe block the guy that's going to try to intercept it so he can catch the ball. Like let these kids teach them they can do things on their own. We can just assist a little bit in areas to help them get to what they need to do. But no, the Angels are doing all the work, the throw, the kick, the catch. Ridiculous. I mean, so yeah.
This movie didn't establish a lot of characters. I know we already mentioned no love interest, no, even on the team. I know we knew a few of the names, but we only knew the names because the kid was like, oh yeah, that guy, the Angels rubbing his feet. Oh, let's see. Oh, Dakinski or whatever it was. But we didn't get any. What kind of ruined the movie was Matthew Lawrence's angle of not being with the team, because then there was no reason for us to see the team interact other than the games and the Angels.
His only interaction was the bad guy, the redhead. That was his only interaction.
That was so corny. Again, that guy should have been. He should have been. Let him be a red hole, but let him get girls
absolutely.
or go to parties, that kind of stuff. It was just not anything that made it seem like, oh man, he's making cool choices. He was just not talking. He was hanging out with the red. Why was the redhead kid hanging out with him? For what reason? He wasn't fun to hang out with.
They were complete opposites.
So stupid.
No. So, I mean, again, I honestly, you break it down, there's really no one has a bond. Even the mom and this other son, the kid goes to the mom, when he's trying to explain the Angels, he says, again, a hurting, depressing line, Dad would have believed me.
Yeah.
And the mom, that's an awful line to say to a parent, who just lost it. And again, so there's no love with the kids. There's no bonding at all. Throughout the whole movie. Like it's everybody's on like for their own. Like the little kid is the younger brother's on his own the whole time. The mom is on her own. The Matthew Lawrence is on his own. Like it's like, yeah. I mean, I feel like this movie is really all over the place. And is it a kids movie? Like I don't know. Like
I know.
like
What's crazy? It's all over the place, but it's only filmed like after that first scene when we see like the dad in the office, and we see like their like
their house.
I guess their room. I guess like that big room they were in. But that wasn't like the room we saw later that like Matthew Lawrence was in. So I mean, that was like some kind of like family room or something. But we saw like the bedroom, we saw the football field, we saw like inside the kid's car. Like it wasn't like a lot of different things. But it's so crazy to now think back, like watching it. I didn't think about it too much, but the fact that we didn't get one classroom scene, like not one
student at a game. Like there were no students except
know.
for the redhead kid.
No.
Like so it was just and
the kids that went there to bet him. And then leave,
correct.
I guess.
But was there a crowd for the other team?
No, no, I don't think so.
I mean, like there was like it just seemed like they used extras very sparingly, and again, that's why there's no interaction. Yeah, you also would have thought like at least like for like see them practice maybe 1 or 2 days at the beginning, so the Matthew Lawrence could have bonded with maybe the kids, and then leave them, so like they get excited that he comes back. Like where they barely knew him. He made one catch and he made a team, and then that's it. So he was at one practice. These kids never knew who Matthew Lawrence was.
I know they didn't know it. That's what I mean. Yeah, he's new to the school. There's no bond for them to cheer in the locker room. Like, all right, well, we don't know if you're gonna get in. We're glad you're here. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, why are they cheering? They like could break up like whatever bond you guys have. This new kid's gonna come in. Obviously, a kid gets hurt. That's the only reason he gets into the game. But So now we're at the shrink. So which is crazy. This kid's absolutely going nuts. And the fact that like Christopher Lloyd's tickling him.
That was bizarre.
Very weird.
Very weird. But the kid, if you're as an adult, if you're looking and you're watching this kid needs help.
He had an exorcism.
100%. Like the way he was acting, again, you take away Christopher Lloyd, and when they show you the clip of how the kid's acting, and he does a great job, but there's something wrong with this kid. Like he needs like some kind of evaluation because that's not normal. It was just so weird, Yeah.
He's great. I wonder if Seventh Heaven was on yet. This is 97 when this came out, which is cool. One of the movies trailers that was for Jurassic Park 2, Lost World, like coming to VHS. That was one of the trailers. But like, I don't know if Seth Heaven, but you're right, dude. This kid, he's a phenomenal actor. Like in this movie, the way he acts, the way he's like, like he's so good at like playing off like, I'm not talking to this imaginary guy.
And you would think that, Matthew Lawrence was the bigger name, I guess. I don't know if he was, but you would think I think the younger brother
2 or 3 years before this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the younger brother was the star of this movie. Like he was, to me, he was in more
scenes.
He was in
most of the movie.
Yeah. So, I think he did a great job.
Do you remember the shrink's pickup line to the mom? He gets really close to her, which creepy.
Go ahead.
Like on the same couch as her after he leaves to go to his locker and he's talking out. And he goes, "Do you like the tango?" That's his pickup line.
Okay. What do you think it was going through their mind that they needed to add this? Because they didn't have to do that. Like,
why is there a shrink in a school? Like in a public school?
There's a school psychiatrist or
really?
psychologist. Yeah,
wow.
Of course. Yeah, a lot of schools have that. But why? Like, because nothing ever came out. Like, it's not like it would be different if you saw him at the game and like sitting close to the mom, like stalking her a little bit, but like nothing else came from that, right? That he was hitting on her. Why even throw it in there? Like it was like such an odd thing to have happen in the movie and in a movie like this. And it wasn't like it foreshadowed anything or anything like, unless like he became like just a creeper and just, but they didn't show him again. Like it was just weird. It was just a weird thing to have in there. Like, I don't know what was the point of having him do that. Like was
I don't know.
Funny?
We didn't see him at all.
Because it wasn't funny. It was creepy. Like it wasn't a funny thing to happen. This is a grieving. I mean, if you think about it, her husband has only been dead for what? I mean, I don't know how, between that.
It's in the fall. It's football season.
So
he made the team in the summer.
Okay.
His dad died.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like 2 months.
So a month, 2 months.
That.
I mean, so you got to show a scene of a weirdo hitting on the mom. Like,
yeah.
so weird. Like, this is a
It was
Disney
even
movie?
sad when she was even a bunch of times. And again, it's got to be so hard to be a single parent no matter what. But if like something devastating like this happens, when he's like, yeah, like I know you mentioned the one line, dad would have
He
believed
said
me.
dad, or he goes, dad would have believed me, or he would have pretended to believe me.
Yeah, yeah. The other
That's what he
line
said.
when she gets like really bummed out when he's like, I really miss dad, and it's like he doesn't want to talk to her, and then I'm like, oh my god, dude, this guy is like, she's trying so hard, like
I know.
it's got to be.
Oh, of course. But that's what I mean. Like, this movie is more of a drama with the mom and
Yeah.
the two kids, like, and then the kid, than it is like an Angels and like a kid's like fun movie. Like, it wasn't fun. Like, there were, I guess cutesy parts for the kids, but like, I think kids would be bored of this movie. I think they're gonna, there's too much drama in the middle.
Yeah. Two
'Cause
highs and lows, like two serious. Because
100%.
after that scene of that, we cut to the football game, and the first line by the announcer, which
Oh
is the
my
only one I
gosh.
wrote down,
Wait,
but the other one's
it's
really funny when he says, they
is this
need
the
to
senior center?
score.
The senior center.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, no,
I
no.
wrote
The
that.
senior center was different, right? If
No.
you need to score, if you're unable to score, go to Leela's dance studio.
No, I thought he said if you need a score, check out the senior center or something like that. Or
Was it? Okay.
I'm always positive that's what I wrote down. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a bunch of them like that, and they were so great the way he led into it.
Well, that's again, he was so goofy. Again, his hair flipping up when he got excited. Like, it was just like, he was a funny part. But again, that line is going over kids' head, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think kids, like, you think about this movie. What's the age? What's the age group in this movie? 10-year-olds? I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like probably like preteen or teenagers at
okay,
this
preteen,
point.
right? They're gonna be bored of the other stuff in there. Like, it's not like,
But yeah, it's way too serious.
Yeah, and again, even the jokes, like that joke or the guy hitting on the mom, is like gonna go over their heads. The joke about the senior center is over their heads. A lot of the announcers, advertisements. So like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what were they trying to do with this movie? Like, it's almost like, was this movie the third movie or the
No,
second
just
movie?
the second one. The third one is that Angels in the Infield that our buddy Egan sent with David Allen Greer, which I love him, so that I might enjoy that. But like the first one, I was just trying to think of like with the bummer parts in it. I think a couple bummer parts in that were they were gonna get adopted and then they didn't, and then it's like a happy thing because then they get adopted by Danny
Sure.
Glover at the end.
Listen, it's okay to have a bummer part here and there, but this movie had the bummer part dragging throughout the whole movie.
And it was just like they remind you about it, even if you forgot it for a little bit. Then it was like, oh, here's a burn against Matthew Lawrence about not having a dad.
Correct.
Or
so that's what you said. Like, it's an up and down. Where I'm assuming the other one, if there's a bummer part, there were way more ups and downs. So here, it's like every other scene is a bummer part. So you have the football scene, it's silliness, and then you have a bummer, and then you have another scene with the announcer, and then you have a bummer. And so like it's a back and forth thing. Yeah, crazy. And
so then we.
Go. You mentioned it briefly, but did we get past the angel rubbing the feet? Like, are we past that scene?
We're here right now.
Okay, because that was a little weird too.
It was weird that they were rubbing his feet and then the kid saw it, but one of the best written lines in this movie is when Dooley goes, "Why can't I see it?" And the kid looks at you and he goes, "Maybe I'm a kid and I still believe in that sort of thing. I don't know." And it's like, that's amazing because there is no like rules to it. And I love that he like right in the face of it, like, this is silly. This is ridiculous.
And that line, I don't know, is, like, I think that's perfect what a normal kid would say. Like, I can't explain these stupid things. Like, this is what it is. But the fact that the rubbing his feet, was that supposed to be like magic powder? Because when he ran, he still ran like an idiot. Like, it wasn't like he was running super fast. Like, he was still like in circle. Like, he wasn't running fast at all. So like, what was the point of rubbing the feet?
It was pretty stupid. Yeah, and you had Christopher Lloyd. That's when the ball was floating down the sideline.
Yes.
Christopher Lloyd had the old timey leather helmet on, and the other team's jersey color, which he did later. Not now. It was the other team's jersey color later in the movie. He's wearing the other team's uniform. Like, they couldn't switch his outfit to match the Angels team.
Yeah, again, there's so much, but
yeah.
Okay,
but so how about again, like, the serious thing? Like, Kevin uses the fact that his dad's dead in order to have that kid return the kickoff. He goes, "My dad would have wanted it this way." I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, ridiculous.
He
And
is very maniacal as a little child.
he's smart. He's smart throughout the movie. Did you notice what the assistant coach was wearing on his head at this point? He had it.
No,
He had an umbrella hat, like a spinning.
no, now that rings a bell, but yeah.
Like to me, like I mean, like it makes no sense throughout the whole movie, but it was like such a bizarre trait for this assistant coach that the fact that he was eating out of these huge bags of like constantly. He's a skinny guy. I mean, one thing if he was a fat kid and like he's eating everything, but he was like a normal sized kid, just eating constantly, wearing stupid things, and it was just so weird. Like it was just such a weird, what, like I don't know. It's just so ridiculous.
Another thing that we were talking about, like changing like outfits and stuff. They had the W on the helmet the whole movie, and then they didn't make a big announcement. You know, some of those movies, it's like, okay, if we're gonna win the championship, we gotta have these new uniforms. Then randomly in the championship game, they're wearing like the California Angels logo hats and on the helmets, and I'm like, why? What? Like this team has lost 52 games in a row, and then they reel off like 8 in a row. Now they get the funding for all this new stuff. Come on.
So ridiculous. So ridiculous. So,
Oh my gosh.
are we close to the gas station scene?
No, pretty soon. So now they scored that touchdown. And
Oh, still in the game. Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. They score the touchdown. Oh, we get a montage. And then every so often we see like the redhead kid is losing money. He looks down. Coach Dooley is getting plays whispered into his ear, which that's what he thinks, but he's probably just, oh, that kid has an angel touching him. And then how about when we get the photographer that had no lines and all he did was this? It was like so funny because it got crazier and crazier for like 5 or 6 different times I got to him. And he was wearing like a French hat. Like he was like an old school like photographer.
But he had no lines, right? So
yeah, no lines, thumbs up.
But so that makes me laugh because as a professional background actor, as I am,
oh yeah,
see me soon in Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh, nice.
But it's like, so that clearly that was a background, so when I did the background stuff, they would grab someone, throw them in a costume and say, all right, this is what you got to do. And overact or whatever. And it seemed like that guy was picked to be in just overact, try to do what you can. And they're just funny that, you notice these things of how, how it goes behind the scenes.
That's cool. So I have to do that after tax season. I have to do that.
You have to. It's just a cool experience. It's just fun to watch. So,
but yeah, no, that's cool. That insight that you have now from doing that a few times.
So yeah, so if once I get a couple more under my belt, I'll allow you to interview me.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that.
I mean, does Happy Gilmore 2 count? I mean, I was in it.
Maybe. Yeah,
I mean,
he says all pass.
Saying.
It should be. I'm kind of really excited for it. In the beginning, I was like, but now thinking of his films, and they are all enjoyable, even the ones that aren't good. Like I watched
the bad
Pixels
ones
again not too long ago. It's actually good. I really like it.
There's a lot of cameos in this one, like a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what's making it fun. And again, what I was saying, but since I was in it and you interview me, it's not technically not a hall pass.
I guess so. Or we just get somebody from it.
Well, we could use me as a backup.
Travis Kelce.
There's a lot of people. So
yeah. No, that's cool. So now how about we get to now it's like the montage, they're winning, they're kicking teams' butts. And I'm like, why would the Angels make this like fishy? It's not like people would investigate like, hey, this crappy team that lost 52 in a row, that stings.
Who got demolished the first game. All of a sudden they're winning.
Are they on roids? What are they doing? Like how are they winning these games? Because they win by so much. We see the homecoming king is the kicker. And the queen is like a blonde woman who looks like a teacher. And I'm like, oh my God, are they really doing that joke? And then we cut to, I guess that's the only girl we see in this movie. Then we cut to her as a cheerleader, and she's doing like these sick backflips. And then you're like, oh my God, like that's the only girl we see.
That's it.
Like we see cheerleaders a little bit now thinking, but that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, so they're, like you said, they're winning. They've noticed some strange things happening in these games. They're not investigating at all. There's a team that's lost 52 games, yet the kids could jump 40 feet in the air and, a ball could float around like Bugs Bunny's pitching baseball and, all these things. No one investigates. No one questions anything.
Nothing at all. Okay. And the bookie's losing so much. He's like so angry. He's like losing his shirt in all these games. And we find out, hey, they're going to play Central in this championship, the Demon. So,
and you know what? See, what they should have done was, one, They should have had the bookie switch over and bet on the Angels, but they should have let the Angels lose and say, you know what, we still made it this way. You know, we got you here, you know, but you played your heart out anyway, and it's okay to lose, so whatever. So the bookie lost money either way. So that, you know, that would have had that. So that would have been good. But
it would have been great if Al had a gripe against that kid, and that was the only reason he's helping out. That bookie. He just hated that bookie. Wasn't about helping the kids that lost their their dad. It was more of, hey, let's get this bookie back so he loses money.
Al was probably betting on the games. He seems the type.
Yeah,
like,
maybe that's why in the last game he put all his money on the other team.
Yeah, because, you know, Christopher Lloyd, I mean, love him. I mean, you know, he's such a character, but he was he was Doc Brown in this movie. He was a mix between Doc Brown and
he was
and
he's definitely, there was a lot of those movies, like he's such a great actor, like Professor Plum is so different than, you know, like in the Dream Team. He has all these totally different roles he can play, but there is a lot of times when he does Doc Brown.
You know what it is? When his hair's a little wild, he has the Doc Brown personality, like in his movies. But when it's like, again, Professor Plum, he's slick back. You know, a Dream Team, he's, you know, short hair like a doctor. But when it's wild, he's usually some kind of crazy character.
Yeah, he's definitely crazy. And at this point, like, the redhead's like on to Kevin. They give him a ride home and like, hey, what are you saying to Dooley? What are you saying? I think his name's like Buckman, his real name. He's like, what are you saying? Are you giving him plays? No, not at all. And at this point, like how does
why is he allowed to even go in the car with the redhead?
Like, I'm sure weird. Like, the mom was probably at the game. How'd he get there?
And the redhead is, I'm sure, known as the bookie, bad kid of school and everything else. You're going to allow the younger son to go in the car with these kids? Yeah. Hey, I mean, how about the redhead's friend? I mean, he looks like the kid smokes 3 packs a day. Like, he had the long hair. Like, he looked like he smokes pot all the time. I mean, you're going to have, again.
What a loser.
What, because of the long hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
But no, you're right. Like, just again, if there was like chicks, or if he had parties, or if he was rich, it would make more sense. If you took away the bookie element, just made no sense, because it wasn't like he made a bet with anyone that mattered to the story. It was no one. So like, you could have just made him a rich kid that had a sweet tooth for like something. Especially at this point, they're already talking about death so much. There's like digs against him not having his dad, like in the championship game. But
oh my gosh,
fucking nuts!
Throughout the whole movie, I mean, again, and that line at the end of the movie about the barbecue.
Like, I rewound it multiple times because I watched it because we had a snow day in Jersey, and the kids were home, so I took like an hour break to finish it, and it was like, what? Did they really just say that? And rewound it over and over again. That guy was in stuff. I didn't look at his IMDb. He was definitely in some stuff. I just could not think of exact roles, but he's definitely been in probably a ton. But for that to be your early career line,
and this is again a Disney movie. Like, I mean, like, just keep throwing dead dad jokes is like awful. Like, it just, you know, I don't know. If the young kids watching this movie, there's so many negative things in this movie. Like, it really, I mean, and again, I'm not, you know, listen, I'm for kids watching Gremlins and anything else, but like, this is like deep stuff. Right. You know, again, and, you know, any kid that's watching this might have lost their father, and hearing all these, I don't know. It was just like kind of tasteless.
Or a bully's watching this to gain material, and he knows a kid that lost their father. You say like, hey, we're really going to miss you at the father-son barbecue.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's unbelievable.
When he said that, I was like, wow, man, that's ballsy.
Yeah. No, that was rough.
Oh my God, dude. So now we go to the gas station. Because remember what Matthew Lawrence said in the car? Again, he even seems like he doesn't enjoy hanging out with those kids. Because he said, the kid's like, oh my God, your brother, did he say anything? Is he talking giving him plays or something? No, he's nothing. And he's like, I don't know, man. I'm just losing so much. I've lost like half of my pot. And he goes, well, why don't you stop betting? And he's like, what are you, my mother? And they pull up a gas station. Dude, what was the first thing that at the gas station, fill up and you get a free pumpkin?
That's funny. I didn't see that.
Fill up and you get a free pumpkin.
I didn't see that. Oh my gosh.
And Matthew Lawrence is paying for the gas. And then at the same time, he looks over, like, how bad is that gas station attendant that a kid under all these bright lights, which we don't get bright lights later. The light thing later in the
Oh my
movie
gosh. Yeah.
is nuts. But the fact that he looks over, he sees the kid robbing the register, and he's like, and then he looks into the car, and the kid with the long hair is like, it's like, what?
So it's like, again, unnecessary kind of scene to have in here. And it seems like almost Matthew Lawrence gets bullied by this redhead to do whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Matthew Lawrence looks like he could wreck this kid. So why is he listening to it or hanging out, like you said? But at the same time, what's his other options? The kids on the football team who, can't spell their own name. So,
Yeah, we don't know any other kids. Or
there's
just
no
a
other
school
kids in the
of
school.
30 kids.
Right. So I think that's why it doesn't make sense, because we haven't seen any other kids besides the kids on the team or these guys. That's the only kids in all school that we've seen.
Yeah.
So that's why he's probably stuck with these kids. But yeah, like, again, this scene really didn't make sense either. And again, a drama. Like, this is a serious part. One, you're showing kids to steal, and two, like, it's taken away from the fun of the movie. So you're adding another, the kid now he gets in trouble, he gets caught. I mean,
He leaves his license on the ground, drops his license. I love when the cop sees him, and I'm like, again, this is just like, it's like a small town. It's like,
no, his wallet. He left his wallet.
Like,
I think he left his wallet.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. He dropped his wallet on the ground.
Yeah,
but the fact when the cop sees him, he's like, "Hey, son, you dropped your wallet." Dude, there's no way a cop, if you're at a robbery, I know it's not an armed robbery, there's no effing way. Like, I was camping illegally at Kinnatini State Park. Those guys came brandishing guns, and I'm like 17 years old.
When I was in, was it high school? I had a golf course behind my house, and we used to go in there and like switch the flags and put Golf Busters flag in there. Oh yeah,
we never talked about. I grew up across the street from the golf course. We used to do the same thing.
And we would write things into the sand. Well, we had state troopers come to our house, so like I had like my one friend calls me up and goes, "Jamie, so I know state troopers just left my house and they're on the way to your house." So I had I literally had 5 minutes to tell my parents what happened. And then and it was like 2 big state troopers, and and when they left, I had to call my next friend. Hey, they're on their way to your house. And it was like 5 of us. It was like ridiculous. So yes. So I mean, and that's just putting a flag on the golf course. So
that's
this
crazy.
kid robbed the store, no repercussions at all, like nothing. They should have like brought him at least to the station or something, like put a little bit more fear.
They just said,
nothing.
"Oh, it's his first time." So
what? It would only be that easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god! And the ginger kid's pissed at him. We talked about this many times, but his line was like, "You be nothing without. You're nothing without me." What do you mean? You got him nothing. If it was like the movie with like
you got him almost arrested.
The guy taking the nerdy girl and making her hot or bringing her around people,
right.
Then the line like, "You're nothing without me." Then it's like,
fine.
Nothing. There's nothing that he gained from being friends with him,
except for almost getting him arrested. That's what he got him. Stupid. So. Yeah, but like, what was the point of this? To show that how depressed this kid is, that he's going to hang out with lowlifes and he's going to, lead a life of crime. Like, is this what they're going to?
Well, no, this is like his. I guess this is like his
awakening.
In Disney World, his rock bottom, because that's when he like cries to his mom, like, "Oh, I really miss Dad." They're crying together, and then what was weird was they were crying, having their moment. Then you cut to the brother in the room by himself, and he's full out bawling. So I'm guessing he heard what was going on, or he's just normally doing like a night cry. Like,
or maybe he's happy that the brother's finally talking to mom, and those are happy tears.
And did you think when he was at that field and he was looking at Jesse the next day, Matthew Lawrence, when he's at the football field staring, watching the practice, which again, that was like on a Thursday, and that must have been during a practice or something, but they don't practice for some reason. Because Dooley's like, "I would love to see you out there tomorrow." I thought he was looking at a flashback in his memory of his dad with kids, but it was just like some rando dad. But when Dooley is like, "We'd love to have you out there tomorrow," it's like, "Oh my god,
shame on Dooley."
Really?
Yeah, that's. Shame. I mean, again, if you really break it down, these kids, although however they didn't earn it because the Angels cheated for them.
Yeah.
In their minds, we did this all ourselves. You're gonna want a hotshot come in and take all the glory after you guys, kick butt all season and like really work your butt off. Like, like it's just like, what a message are you showing? Okay. And fine, you want to have this kid play, great. But he should have said at the end, instead of being a ball hog and saying, give it to me, I can do it, saying, you know what? You guys deserved it. You guys got here on your own. You do the winning.
Yeah.
Let the quarterback throw. Like that. That's how it should have been. Not let this kid get all the glory, because who got all the glory at the end of the game was Matthew Lawrence, who played for one game. So like that, to me, that would have been a better message. Fine. I'll play, and let him help the team. But here's the most important part. You guys can do it.
Yeah. He quits on the team, doesn't practice. Then he doesn't practice, gets the opportunity, shows up during the pregame speech. Oh, yeah, wait. And he got in trouble for robbery. Like, obviously, he didn't do the robbery, but
it doesn't matter.
He was out of robbery. And
but the fact that they let him get the glory, like, and dictate what we're going to do. The coach had other plans, and he says, no, I can do it. I can do it. First of all, you're going to trust him, who hasn't played all season. You saw him play, like he barely play. But again, the fact that you're letting him, it's like, it should have been like Teen Wolf, right? They let Chubbs take that shot. Like Mark
Colton,
friend of the podcast.
Yeah,
I think he should have said, you know what, you guys do it. Let the blind kid throw to the kid that runs into the net. Let that be the winning catch, or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. They should have done something like that.
No,
yeah,
he's the villain.
One thing at the game that made no sense. Like when Dooley said to the game, I don't know if you're not gonna be able to get in play. It was the backup running back. So the second running back is gonna play. Like if that kid busts off a 70-yard run, he's tired, he needs to come out. What, Matthew Lawrence, somebody else gonna go in? Was there really a second stringer? But he gets his opportunity, and he's just. What was weird was, again, the Angels couldn't help. So it was them on their own. He had to tell Dooley that, and he's like, oh, what are we going to do? But you see how great they're playing. Like early in the game, they're actually sort of somehow controlling the game, even though they have people that shouldn't be on a football.
100%. And did I miss this? Clearly I did. Why couldn't the Angels help?
It's always the rule. They can't help in championship.
Is that what he said? That's the rule? Because
all he says in this one is, we have to sit this one out. That's
okay, so they don't explain why. So you're telling me these Angels help these kids get to the championship game
all the way there,
and they're gonna say, "Yeah, you're on your own." Like really? Yeah. Like you're gonna tease us with a championship, our first championship probably ever, and then you're gonna just leave us there? Like what are the Angels teaching them? Like awful.
I know.
Like that's
terrible life lessons.
Like I'd rather you show up to the end game. Let us get to the end game, and then you show up for the end game to help us. Like don't leave us there.
Yeah.
And knowing the size of these kids, you're gonna listen. Go ahead. That's a lot of bad messages in this movie.
Terrible messages. You don't have to really put in the effort to win the championship. You don't have to practice.
You know, the practice
is optional. When I guess you're as good as Matthew Lawrence, all he was doing was sitting in the Camaro. We didn't see him work out, do nothing.
For
all those months, he just seemed like his head was down, friggin' Charlie Brown for all those months.
Okay, and you know what? Think about it. So clearly, the school knows that he's struggling. He's not in the right space, mentally. Your coach is going to feel good throwing him in a game. This is your championship game. According to coach, this team brought him there. I don't know if I would trust Matthew Lawrence in the championship game, knowing how his head has not been in the game at all.
I know, but look at the rest of that team.
They got there. They did get there.
I know they did get there. But Dooley knows there was ghosts involved. There was angels involved helping out.
See, I think Matthew Lawrence should have been the quarterback instead of the tailback, because this way, by being the quarterback, he can let the other kids be a shining star.
Yeah, make the catches and stuff. You're right. That's why it makes it so good with Little Giants with the best.
Correct.
Devin Sawa. He's obviously the heartthrob in that. At that point, he was in Tiger Beat and everything. He was the one that was able to get all the other kids involved. But
the
that's
kid
what
with
I mean.
The
toilet paper and the sticky fingers. Yeah.
But that's in all those movies, right? The quarterback kid can't get everybody involved. So you had a lot of players in his team that could have been involved if he was the quarterback. Instead, make him the star that gets every play running and catching, and let the other team just just watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they get to the point that they're down 3, which again they shouldn't have done that. It should have been 4, because I hate when movies do that. They don't think about, all right, well, if they're down 3, they have a kicker that can kick 50-something yards. I know we had, our friend of the podcast, Kate Twa, guest next week. She she couldn't help that kid this time, but he has the leg to tie it and send it to overtime. But the fact that they keep running the ball over and over and over again, and the fact that it gets so dark in second, dude, the thing that was nuts was when it was getting dark, and they're like, we have to turn the lights on for the last play. Coach only has to use his last time out. When he starts running the ball, and it just gets darker and darker, and it gets like the lights are so bright. It's pitch dark so much on that field that the bright lights are showing like spots in the field. Like there's a black spot, a bright spot, a black spot, and bright spot.
Oh, first of all, any high school sports, the lights are going to be on way before they need to be.
In the fall?
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, it takes about 10 minutes for the lights to warm up to even turn on. So, it's not like you're doing a switch and automatically the lights are on. And so, like, if you're playing a game that's going to be into the night, the lights are on probably from the beginning of the game on, just because it's like timed right, not for the last play. Like, you'd have to wait around 10 minutes. So, yeah.
And before, because he scores here, we talked about him seeing his dad in the end zone. We talked about that earlier. But it made no sense. Like, the linebacker was like, just watch out for him. That's all you have to worry about. And again, just like watching football and like on Sundays, like knowing it, like on the next play, they said hike, and all the guys, the linebackers, everybody ran backwards in coverage. And it's like, they're not throwing it. They barely threw it in this entire game. And it's like, oh, and he gets another 12 yards and he gets out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, the one with the size of these kids and knowing exactly where the ball's going, he shouldn't have had more than a yard each play. I mean, So yeah, so dumb. So dumb.
Oh my God. The announcer is great. Like, that's a good bit that I could think about for the rest of my life. Just the way he leads in. Oh, it's a touchdown. If you want to touch down safely, fly United Airlines. And he would just do these random lines. And it was so funny. Like, I was dying every one. Like, he was a part of the movie.
They also made him goofy. Like, he just looked goofy.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like a weirdo. Like, again, he looked like Harry. He had hairy hair from Dumb and Dumber. He had like the wise guy comments from like Lasorda. Not Lasorda. Was it? Yeah, Tommy Lasorda. No, it's Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tommy Lasorda, the Dodgers manager?
No, not Tommy Lasorda. That's what I said before. What's his name? Euchre. Bob Euchre. He was like Bob Euchre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He's like, Bob, where did Lasorda come from?
That's pretty deep.
That is deep. That's weird. But yeah, to me, honestly, he was probably the funniest part of the whole movie.
He was just no, he definitely was. Again, the thing that's weird about this movie, and like the end of the movie, one thing I wrote that would have been great is that when the mom was by herself celebrating, because obviously Kevin was down in the field, Essie was down in the field celebrating. She was by herself so happy, and she looks around, nobody like hugged her. I really want it. Again, it was creepy, but it would have been a really good
if the
like
psychologist.
If he was there right there to do like a creepy like side hug, his head on her like side,
or he's like in the stands like waving to her, like he's in the stands, like right, 100%. Like, okay, fine, then you have a reason why you did it in the beginning, but there was nothing like it. Like, scene was just like, really, it was just so weird. Like, what? I don't know. This whole movie, there was just so many scenes that were just so almost like filler. Maybe it was just I don't know.
There was filler, but then there was things missing. Like, there was definitely like, I guarantee the original script had to have high school scenes, or maybe they just said we don't have time or we don't have the budget.
Go to YouTube, look up deleted scenes.
Do you think they don't know? What do you mean? You can't even find the movie. You think you can find deleted scenes? You can't even find the movie anywhere or on a pirate website. You can find it on ABC Family Saturday Night Movie, 1997, because this wasn't in the theaters.
How the heck did they have it with commercials? Like who decided to upload that movie with the commercial? Who kept it that long?
A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that.
Did I?
Like,
oh my.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, I think the nostalgia of those commercials, it is pretty cool when you watch stuff like that. Just seeing like all the stuff that went, like we talked about, like the fact that Home Improvement ad 4 times that same, like, to get people to watch on Monday, like how crazy that storyline was.
I fast forward to the commercials, but if I had to do it again, I'd fast forward the movie and watch the commercials.
Just watch the commercials. Oh man, so that was Angels in the End Zone, perfect for Super Bowl Sunday. Jamie, I think I know how you feel about the movie. So how about this? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Tough call.
Like, give me a really serious prediction with the score, so that on Monday, if people are listening to this on 2/10, February 10th, 2025 beyond.
42-36.
42-36. Who?
I don't want to say them, but I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to win.
Wow.
And I'm not
All
rooting for
right.
them, but I just think they've been pretty dominant all year. And I think Saquon on the big stage, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to go 34-28.
Who?
Chiefs.
Okay.
I was trying to think, this game is so weird because I think, not like this is not a football podcast, but I think it could be so different. I would love like a low scoring game to see like when the touchdowns really do matter. But in some sense, I'm like, just let it go. Let's have a good Super Bowl Sunday party, hang out. It's definitely a good time. Hopefully soon they either move it to a Saturday or they do it the next week. So then President's Day, even though
they talked about it?
Off.
Have they talked about it?
Not Saturday, but moving it 1 week forward. But the only thing is whose weekend that is, Daytona 500. So
who cares? Who watches that?
That's a lot of people.
I know. The same people that probably watch football. So what would they rather watch?
They probably move it forward. Be like, hey, Daytona, go a week ahead.
Listen, they're watching a car go in circles. They can move that. Yeah, we lost all those Southern boys.
Turn left. So that was Angels and some perfect timing. It was so cool to be able to have like our first like football sequel. There's not really many, right? How many really could there be?
I was thinking this before. Like, so for next year to do research, what other football sequels are there? I mean, I'm sure there are obscure ones that we're gonna have to.
There's probably movies with football element. Like Substitute 3 is at a college with a football team. Okay. Another Treat Williams classic, but. No, we'll find something, but it was just cool to be able to, and Kate was great. So next week, be sure to check out the interview with Kate Twa, actress, teacher. She runs a little black box theater north of Vancouver. Really passionate, really cool, great memories from this. And I told Jamie how embarrassed I was because she talked about this weird outfit she'd do during when the way they dress in England and London for like theater. It's like this real theater thing. So she pulls out of nowhere, no context, a Polaroid. She goes, I found this for you. Not thinking of like, it's so weird. We do this podcast and it's like about sequels, obviously. But like when I interview people, it's all about the journey and all that. I don't even think about some of the stuff. Like even like the guy that sent me the hat, Don Deers sends me like the really cool Warner Brothers backlot accounting like envelope. I don't even think it's that. I'm like, Warner Brothers, this is cool. Not thinking he connected to like my car, what I do as a job. But yeah, no, Kate was really cool. So that's a great interview. You'll love it. And enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. And don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.